Hey, what's going on, everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I wanted to kind of comment on what Kareem Abdul-Jabbar said in regards to LeBron James, um, doing his dance that got him fined, whatever the amount was. I don't remember exactly what the amount was, but very recently he kind of did like a big balls dance. You know the one. Well, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar essentially said goats don't do that. He doesn't see a reason for them to do a stupid dance, try to, uh, you know, show both the other team, show both against the other team. So that was me paraphrasing what he was essentially saying, but more or less it ain't necessary to do all that. Goats don't do that. That's what he was saying. I think it's one of those situations where for me I look at Kareem and I say, okay, in your time, for your personality and your circumstances, that's what it is for this environment and this time and his circumstances. Totally different mindset, totally different way of doing things, totally different way of receiving things. And I think that's the part that I would try to zero in on in regards to my conversation. It's more so about how everybody else looks at it. In 1965, 1970, when Kareem was running around, yeah, that's received differently. Not everybody's doing that, so if you do it, it's disrespectful. We're probably gonna fight. But we're in a world where everybody's doing that. You go to football full field, they're trying to figure out how they want to handle it. But basically, everybody's showboating and dancing around. You're going to take it back. That's the thing about that. A guy like LeBron James is going to see Steph Curry do his shimmy. He's going to see other players do their various signature moves, right? As are they going to receive that from various players who are going to, tear them up and get dubs against them. When it's your time to shine, you have a choice in this era. You can showboat and gloat, or you can handle it the way you describe. But the point is, if you handle it the way you describe, best believe you're still gonna have people showboating and gloating and dancing all over you. So when it's your time to do so, you're gonna feel more likely to want to do it yourself. And plus, LeBron James' circumstances were specific. LeBron James, when he does stuff like this, it's not just about the moment he's in. It's more so about the circumstance he's involved in, broader than the scope of the basketball game. In that situation, he was responding to the NBA in regards to being suspended previously in that Isaiah Stewart situation. I think he was probably responding to some other things probably in regards to that simultaneously. That's just how LeBron James appears to operate to me. So, and looking to him and how he does things, I know for a fact it just wasn't about gloating against the other team. So I think that context is important as well. I think at the end of the day, Kareem does have a great point. We don't want to get to a point where we're neglecting to understand that there is a display that you want to show and there is a way you want your kids to follow you, and you want to make sure that when you're on the court, you display the type of sportsmanship that can be appreciated. But what I would tell Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is, in this era, that's that. It is just that. This is sportsmanship that isn't so bad, in this era. The field thinks it's cool, it's fine, and the fans enjoy it. It's entertainment. And that's the difference as well. I think this era is more so about putting a display on TV, putting on entertainment more so than just competing and putting on a sport, more or less, a good sporting event. I think the tides turned somewhere when Magic Johnson and Larry Bird came into the play, and millions of dollars, which turned into billions of dollars in international exposure, etc., kind of took the game somewhere else, to where now it's not only about just putting a good game on the floor, but more so garnering the respect and attention of international markets. And I think that also brings about the conversation of whether or not this is actually good for the game, I think. But at the end of the day, I think they're being raised in the environment where that's cool too, because they're too watching the NBA, they're too watching the NFL. And even though maybe the norms of their land may not necessarily respect the gloating, the younger generations who are growing up with this era and these different cultures we got right now, they're starting to adapt to it and kind of go away from the ways of their old lands, or the old land they're from. So what I'm trying to say is, everybody's kids is cool with with the gloating at this point. I think it's just a across the board type of thing, to where we're in the troll era, but we're also in the era of trying to define what it is that offends us. And I think this generation is telling us that we're not as offended by dancing and stuff like that, but they're more so offended by various notions that they can't be accepted, and various notions that who they are and what they're about can't be accepted by one another. So Um, the ins and outs of that conversation is more so about what these kids are offended by. So I don't think dancing around is going to make a difference, as long as you're not saying the magic words or or telling somebody they don't matter or something like that. So I think that's where we're at. It's just a matter of opinion at the end of the day. My opinion is there's a line that you don't cross, and when you cross it, I think your opponent will let you know. And as far as I'm concerned, nobody came running at LeBron at that moment, so I guess he was cool in that moment. But you know what I mean? I think at the end of the day, my point of view is to just be respectful of where we're at. You know, I'm not one of those guys that wants to go forward and say the way my day was is the way your day needs to be next generation. No, the world is yours. You define what it is. You tell us what matters, and that's what it is. You know what I mean? And the next generation will tell you, and that's what it is. And I think a lot of generations and of the previous generations are either used to the world being the way they were, or used to having control over the world as it is, and don't like the fact that the younger generation sees things differently, can maneuver without needing some of the things that we needed to validate us in the past. I can look at my opponent and say, he can dance all day long. It ain't gonna matter to me. I'm just gonna go down there and shoot him down the other end. As to where opponents in the past, nah, it's more so about how we feel. Are we? It's a different time. Different things are respected. And dare I say, generations past more so wore masks. You know what I mean? They wanted to appear to feel better than they did. So if you tried to invalidate that in any way, or try to make them show them up in any way, it became a situation where their manhood was in play. So dare you show me up? Dare you? Like, these kids ain't even on that no more. They're not even in that world. So at this point, it's like, nah, I'm not angry at him dancing. Let him dance. He's having a good time. I'm gonna go down there and shoot over him, and then I'm gonna dance too, and he's not gonna feel so good about that, and we're gonna keep playing. So yeah, man, new times, Kareem. New times. Look around, bro. It's different. It's a different world. And maybe it'll be like what you said again tomorrow. Maybe this generation will look at all this folly we've been on and start to have more structure. Our kids and their kids and their kids. Maybe it's maybe it goes back to the way that it was. But right now, nah, people aren't offended by dancing. No. Only people who are offended by dancing are people from the old world. That's the reality of it all. Nobody cares about these gloats and showboating. It's all fun. And really, LeBron ain't the worst one. I didn't see him worse. Like I said, Steph Curry dance and do his shoulder thing almost every time he shoot, and it's unfair. Can't nobody stop him. I mean, what you gonna do? You can't do nothing to him. So if I'm looking at anybody about gloating, it's gonna be Steph before LeBron. It's gonna be some of these other guys before I look at the King. But that's just me. Anyway, my name is BDF44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.